All right, welcome back. As we get closer to the new school year, just weeks away now, we are checking the guidelines now in place for AI in the classroom, beginning with HISD. So there, only students in 8th grade and above can independently use approved AI tools with parental consent. Younger students can only use AI through teacher-guided instruction. Katy ISD will phase the use of AI based on grade level as well. Kindergarten through 6th grade cannot directly use generative AI chat tools. 7th graders can use district-approved AI with teacher supervision. 8th and above may use generative AI for specific assignments with teacher approval. Lastly, Fort Bend ISD does not establish district-wide grade level restrictions at all. Instead, students may use district-approved AI tools with parental consent. All right, here to talk about all of it is Dr. Patrick Dix, the AI and automation expert we often turn to. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? We're
doing pretty good. Hope you're doing well. When we see these guidelines, and the guidelines seem to change, but this is the latest, what do you make of these guardrails? Do they seem to make sense? Are they missing the mark? And they are pretty different between districts.
Well, every school district is going to do something differently. And, many of the guardrails that they're putting in place, they're trying to help the students learn more, but also comply with what the parents want. So if I was a parent and I had a child in a school district, first thing I would ask them is, what kind of curriculum are the students, what kind of curriculum are the students going to be learning, and what is the curriculum comprised of? School starts over there in a couple of weeks, and this is why it's important to go to those open houses and to attend those PTA meetings, because if with the school districts using artificial intelligence, they can change the curriculum on the fly because there are different things students want to learn about or need to learn about.
That's right. Now, with HISD, for example, and Katy ISD, they've got like every grade is a different thing or a few grades. And then you've got this other one, Fort Bend ISD, all huge districts saying, no, we're not going to do any of that. We're just, if the parents approve. What do you make of the more specific or strict guidelines versus the more whatever parents want?
Well, the ones with the parents want, the parents are pretty much putting their foot in there with the curriculum and what the students are learning. The other school districts that don't have any kind of regulatory or saying they're just going to let them just use it however, they're pretty much opening it up to where the students can learn about A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm using that as topics of subjects. But with the regulatory measures, the parents are like saying basically, I want my student to learn about AI, but I also want them to be responsible. But I also want to make sure they're still using their critical thinking skills to ensure themselves that when they get into the real world, they understand that that is a lost art and they need to make sure they can think critically about issues and problems.
So what does that look like today with the tools in place right now? The line, if you will, if there is a line, between the AI helping the students to learn as a tool and replacing critical thinking?
Well, there is a big line right now. See, every school district around the United States, they don't have enough students and they don't have enough teachers. So school districts are being forced to find some other resources, which would be artificial intelligence. And the line about learning about how it's responsible and how it works, there is a fine line. First of all, we want the students to understand what AI is and where it comes from. But secondly, you want the students to understand it is just a tool. Back when I was in school, the biggest tool you had was Google. So now the students have AI that can do everything for them, but you want the students to understand this is just a tool. It is not meant to do all of the work for you.
Now, how about the parents at home with our kids? We talked about this a lot when social media exploded. Well, now, what is a rule or a guideline that parents ought to consider for their children as they're going back to school, as far as apps on their phone or guidelines or whatever it is?
Well, just like you have a rule at home about cell phones, it should be the same thing with AI. Kids are already becoming too dependent on artificial intelligence. We have adults as well. We've already crossed that line, or they're becoming too dependent. The thing now is we have to get the kids to understand this is just a tool. Even when they're at home, if you're a parent and your child does some homework, you need to have your child go through the steps of how they did the homework and talk it out with you, because what a kid will do is say, well, I don't need to learn about math or how to read that much. I'll just let AI do it for me. And then a parent walks in and says, oh, your homework is complete. Sit down with your child and say, hey, explain to me how you came up with that solution, each step, because in the real world, when you get on a job, you're going to have to do these same steps to explain to other people how you did what you did.
What, as a final question here, what skills are probably not going to be replaced here? What skills will become more and more important as AI replaces some functions today?
Critical thinking, social skills, and people skills. I've met hundreds of people, very bright. They don't have people skills, and they wonder why they're in the position they are in life, because they can't talk to people. Or we have people that can't critically think. The analogy I talk to people about is, well, it's not an analogy. A saying I have to people is 90% what happens to you in life is not in a book. It is split-second decisions. You can't Google everything. You can't use AI for everything. And that's why it is imperative that kids are taught how to critically think. Lastly, social skills. You're going to meet people from different walks of life. You're going to meet people from different nationalities and different religions. You have to understand how to talk to them and what not to talk about, and also what may offend them or where you're located at. You know, depending on where you're traveling or what part of the world you may be in, you have to have situational awareness and social awareness to understand how you feel about something and the people actually going through it may offend them. So those are key skills that AI cannot replace.
Yeah, and it's got to start at home, I think. We did a fun experiment at the house where we told the kids, okay, one day a week, zero tech, zero screen. It actually went pretty well. We're going to see if we can keep that up. Dr. Dix, thank you for joining us again today. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
All right, same here.